The cameras have stopped rolling. The crowds have gone home. And in the quiet aftermath of one of rock's most devastating farewells, Sharon Osbourne sits at 72. Forever changed by a loss that has shaken not just her world, but the entire entertainment industry. But it's what happened next that has everyone talking, and one of Jack Osbourne's closest colleagues, stepping forward with an urgent plea that's left fans both heartbroken and deeply concerned. This is Starwire Daily. And what we're about to tell you goes far beyond the headlines, because while the world watched Sharon say goodbye to the love of her life, Ozzy Osbourne, at his emotional funeral just days ago, behind closed doors, a different story is unfolding. One of vulnerability, of a family in crisis, and of unexpected allies stepping forward when it matters most. July 22, 2025. The date that changed everything. After decades of battling Parkinson's disease with a fierce determination that made him a legend, Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness himself, took his final bow. The man who had defied death more times than anyone could count finally succumbed at 76, leaving behind not just a musical legacy that spans generations, but a devastated widow who had been his constant companion, his business partner, his everything. For over 4 decades, Sharon Rachel Levy met Ozzy when she was just 18 years old, working for her father's management company. What began as a professional relationship quickly blossomed into something extraordinary. A love story that would weather addiction, illness, scandal, and the relentless pressure of life in the spotlight. They married on July 4, 1982, and incredibly, they had just celebrated their 43rd wedding anniversary this past July, mere weeks before Ozzy's passing. Can you imagine? 43 years of marriage, and Sharon lost her partner just days after their anniversary celebration. But Sharon Osbourne isn't just anyone. She's a powerhouse in her own right. The woman who transformed Ozzy from a struggling solo artist into a global phenomenon. She managed his career, protected his interests, fought his battles, and quite literally saved his life more times than we can count. She was there during his darkest moments with addiction, stood by him through countless health scares, and never wavered in her devotion. Industry insiders often call them twin flames, two souls so perfectly matched that one simply couldn't exist without the other. The funeral, held in Birmingham, Ozzy's beloved hometown, was a spectacle that brought thousands of fans together. Sharon, supported by her children, Jack and Kelly, was seen weeping openly as the procession made its way through the streets lined with mourning fans. The images were heartbreaking. This strong, fierce woman who had taken on record labels, TV, networks, and anyone who dared challenge her family. Now fragile and broken, leaning heavily on her children for support. But here's where our story takes an unexpected turn. Jack Osbourne, Sharon's son, has been quietly working on the latest season of ITV's Cooking with the Stars, the popular celebrity cooking competition hosted by Emma, Willis, and Tom Allen. It's one of those feel-good shows where celebrities are paired with professional chefs and compete in various cooking challenges. Exactly the kind of wholesome family entertainment that Jack has been gravitating toward in recent years as he's built his own media career away from the chaos that often surrounded the Osbourne family name. Among Jack's fellow contestants on this season is Ikinsu Kalkulalu, and if that name sounds familiar, it should. This stunning Turkish-British star shot to fame by winning Love Island in 2022 alongside Davide Sanclementi, capturing hearts with her dramatic flair and genuine warmth. Since then, she's become something of a television darling, appearing on Dancing on Ice, The Wheel, and now Cooking with the Stars. At 30 years old, Ikinsu represents a new generation of reality stars who've successfully transitioned into mainstream entertainment. But what happened next caught everyone off guard. In an emotional appearance on Good Morning Britain, Ekin-Su did something that celebrities rarely do. She stepped completely outside her comfort zone and made a deeply personal, public plea on behalf of someone she barely knows. Fighting back. Tears. She spoke directly to the camera, her voice trembling with genuine emotion as she addressed Sharon Osbourne directly. "Sharon," she said, her Turkish accent making her words even more poignant. "I know we don't know each other well, but working alongside Jack, seeing the love he has for his family, seeing the pain he's carrying right now, I just want you to know that you're not alone. You're vulnerable right now, and that's okay. But please, please don't shut everyone out." The plea continued, with Ekin-Su speaking about the conversations she'd had with Jack during filming, how he'd talked about his mother's strength but also his deep concern for her well-being. "Jack is worried sick about you," she revealed. "He sees you trying to be strong for everyone else, but he knows you're breaking inside. We all know you're breaking inside. What makes this moment so extraordinary is understanding the dynamics at play here." Ekin-Su Kulkulolu could have easily stayed in her lane, focused on her own career, her own projects. After all, she's at a crucial point in her career transition from reality TV to mainstream entertainment. Making such a personal, emotional plea puts her own image at risk. It's the kind of raw, unfiltered moment that publicists usually advise against. But there's something about genuine human connection that transcends career calculations, isn't there? In her brief time working alongside Jack, Ekin-Su witnessed something that moved her profoundly. She saw a son's love for his mother, a family's quiet desperation, and a woman who had spent decades taking care of everyone else but now needed someone to take care of her. Industry sources close to the Osbourne family are now revealing just how concerned everyone is about Sharon's state of mind. One insider, speaking on condition of anonymity, told us Sharon has always been the rock, the fighter, the one who fixed everything. But Ozzy wasn't just her husband, he was her purpose, her reason for getting up every morning. Without him, she's lost. She's not eating properly, she's not sleeping, and she's refusing help from everyone. The timing of Ekin-Su's plea is particularly significant because it comes at a moment when Sharon is reportedly making some very concerning statements about her future. Sources suggest that the 72-year-old has been talking about being done with love, about having no interest in continuing without Ozzy by her side. Friends and family are apparently taking these comments very seriously, which explains why Jack's co-star felt compelled to speak out so publicly. But here's what's beautiful about this story. It shows us something we don't often see in the entertainment industry: real human connection. Ekin-Su didn't have to care about Jack's family situation. She didn't have to make herself vulnerable on national television. She didn't have to risk her own reputation by getting involved in someone else's private pain. But she did it anyway, because sometimes being human is more important than being strategic. The response from fans has been overwhelming. Social media has exploded with messages of support, not just for Sharon, but for Ekin-Su's courage in speaking out. Comments are pouring in from people sharing their own experiences with grief, with loss, with the challenge of watching someone you care about struggle through unimaginable pain. One particularly moving comment read, "My grandmother lost my grandfather after 50 years of marriage, and she just gave up. I wish someone like Ekin-Su had spoken up for her." Sometimes it takes a stranger to say what family can't. And that's exactly what's happening here. Sometimes, in the midst of profound grief, family members are too close, too emotional, too wrapped up in their own pain to break through. Sometimes it takes someone from the outside, someone with nothing to gain and everything to lose, to cut through the noise and speak directly to the heart. Jack Osbourne himself has remained publicly quiet about Ekin-Su's plea. But sources close To the family suggest he's deeply grateful for her support. Jack has been carrying this weight alone, one source revealed. He's dealing with his own grief while trying to be strong for his mother and his sisters. Having someone like Ekin-Su step up and say what he's been thinking but couldn't say himself, it's meant everything to him. The broader implications of this story extend far beyond one family's grief. We're witnessing a moment that challenges everything we think we know about celebrity culture. In an industry often criticized for being superficial and self-serving, here's a young woman who chose empathy over image management. Here's a reality TV star who proved that authentic human connection matters more than maintaining perfect public relations. Sharon Osbourne built her reputation on being fierce, uncompromising, and absolutely fearless. She took on industry giants, defended her family against all comers, and never showed weakness. But grief doesn't care about your reputation. Loss doesn't respect your public image. Sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is admit you're not strong at all. As we continue to follow this story, one thing is crystal clear. The entertainment industry needs more people like Ekin-Su Kulo. People who are willing to step outside their comfort zones, to risk their own standing, to speak truth even when it's uncomfortable. People who remember that behind the headlines, behind the glamour, behind the carefully managed public images, we're all just human beings trying to navigate love, loss, and everything in between. The coming weeks will be crucial for Sharon Osbourne. At 72, she's at a crossroads that none of us would wish on our worst enemies. She can either retreat completely from public life, allowing grief to consume her, or she can find a way to honor Ozzy's memory while building something new for herself. The choice is hers, but she doesn't have to make it alone. And that's the real message in Ekin-Su's Plea, isn't it? None of us have to face our darkest moments alone. Whether you're a rock and roll legend's widow or someone dealing with your own private struggles, there are people who care, people who want to help, people who are willing to step forward even when it's not their responsibility to do so. The story of Sharon Osbourne's grief is still being written. The impact of Ekin-Su's brave words is still unfolding, and somewhere in the middle of it all, Jack Osbourne continues to navigate his own loss while filming a cooking show, probably never imagining that his co-star would become such an important voice in his family's healing process. This is what real life looks like, folks. Messy, complicated, heartbreaking, and beautiful, all at the same time. It's Love Island stars making emotional pleas on morning television. It's grieving widows trying to find reasons to keep going. It's sons watching their mothers struggle and feeling helpless to fix it. It's the unexpected kindness of near strangers who choose to care when they don't have to. As we wrap up today's story, we want to take a moment to acknowledge something important. We've all experienced loss. We've all watched someone we love struggle through grief. We've all wondered if we should speak up, step in, or stay silent. Ekin-Su Kulolu's example reminds us that sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is simply say, "You're not alone. You matter. We see you." So whether you're dealing with your own grief, supporting someone who is, or simply trying to navigate the complexities of human connection in our disconnected world, remember this story. Remember that vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the birthplace of courage, creativity, and change. Remember that speaking up for others, even when it's uncomfortable, can make all the difference. And remember that in a world that often feels cold and calculating, there are still people like Ekin-Su who choose love over fear, connection over protection, and authenticity over perfection. The entertainment industry will continue to evolve. Celebrities will come and go, and new scandals will dominate tomorrow's headlines. But the story of one young woman's decision to speak truth to grief, to offer support to a stranger, and to remind us all of our shared humanity, that story will endure. What do you think about Ekin-Su's brave plea? Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you had to choose between staying safe and speaking up for someone else? And what advice would you give to Sharon Osbourne as she navigates this incredibly difficult chapter of her life? We genuinely want to hear your thoughts because stories like this remind us that we're all in this together. Drop your comments below. Share your own experiences with grief, with unexpected kindness, with moments when strangers became allies. Your voice matters, your story matters, and who knows? Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if this story moved you, if it made you think differently about vulnerability, about celebrity culture, or about the power of human connection, show us some love with that like button. It really does help us continue bringing you these deeper, more meaningful stories that go beyond the surface-level gossip to explore what makes us all human. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell because we're just getting started. Next week, we're diving into another story that's going to blow your mind. It involves a decades-old Hollywood secret that's finally coming to light. And trust me, you won't want to miss it. Until then, take care of each other. Speak up for those who need it. And remember, in a world that can feel overwhelming and disconnected, sometimes the most radical thing you can do is simply care about someone else's story. This has been Star Wire Daily. I'm your host, and we'll see you next time.